My next tip is probably one of the most life-changing things that I have done and probably one of the most difficult. I can't ever say that it will be easy because you're probably like, well, how the hell? It is a journey of moving forward. Like, that is the only direction we're all going, guys. We're all headed in that one direction. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hello if you are new. My name is Andrea Johnson. I'm a Reiki master teacher, energy worker, psychic worker, and spiritual lifestyle content maker. Welcome to the Good Vibe Tribe. Welcome to another episode of what I like to call Conscious Coffee Talks, where I have a sit-down conversation with you beautiful souls over a cup of coffee on something to expand our consciousness. So, with that being said, let's dive into today's topic. So, this has been a hard video to start. I'm not exactly sure of the words.
Well, a bird, well, a bird is a word, well, a bird.
Because this can probably be taken out of context. But the topic that I wanted to talk about was what it truly means to heal. And what I mean by that is, and I'm hoping you guys can relate, I know when I first started out in my energy work journey, I was, doing all the things that, people tell you to do as tools, right? Using Reiki as a tool, clearing the energy as tools, using like tarot or things like that, oracle, to help communicate with the mind. All of these tools to help me get to know me better and to help me clear energies, right? And then I went into it even deeper. Then you start getting into like the shadow work, how like the ego is created and how you hold on to energy and trauma and how it really creates you as the human and what gets stored in the subconscious. So there's a lot of psychology involved in this too. Once you realize these things, like, okay, so you've identified traumas, right? You've identified bad habits that you have, right? You actually feel discomfort in like your life and your body. I'm supposed to like identify this thing of why I am the way I am because of such trauma. Why do I still feel like shit? You know what I mean? So that's where I'm coming to you guys today of what happens when you do all the work, when you're like going around, and I call it the trap of healing, the healing trap, that you're telling yourself these things are wrong. You're trying to figure out why you feel dis-ease or uncomfortable or depressed or anxiety. The point being of what I'm trying to say is, how do you get that energy to freaking just leave your body and just live a life of happiness, to feel good in your body, to feel good about life and happy, to wake up and just feel just excited, to feel good in your body, to feel healthy, to have healthy relationships, to have healthy mindsets. So that is what I mean when I say heal. I'm not saying to use Reiki or energy work or something like that to heal physically, or that those things replace Western medicine or replace like psychology of going and seeing a therapist. I'm gonna cover today certain mindset shifts that helped me shift my perspective to then move these vibrations out of my body, because it just was not enough for me to actually identify like why anxiety was coming up. I could figure it out, but I always had to clear that vibration, right? So I'm going to discuss today of things that have helped me, so maybe that it can help you guys see this in a different light if the things that you keep struggling with keep coming up. So the first thing that really helped me, and if you haven't seen my miscarriage video, this is when I first really discovered it and what I was doing, is validate your feelings. Give yourself permission to feel the way that you do. And what I mean by this is, too often I really feel like we feel these lower vibrations, these negative emotions, or these emotions that just we tell ourselves are negative, and it's almost like we shut it down really quick. It's almost like, oh shit, I feel anxiety, I feel sad, I feel depression, I cannot feel this way, right? You sit there and you freak out about it, and when you do this, you're suppressing it. And I realized this when I had a miscarriage and I started crying. because I was talking to somebody about it. And the person and I was just like, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm crying right now. Like, I shouldn't be crying. And that was suppressing it. I was telling myself I shouldn't be doing something when I was, and I was feeling the feelings. So therefore it was my reality I was living. And, the girl turns her and she looks at me and she's like, well, of course you're allowed to do this. Of course you're allowed to feel sad. Like, you're the one feeling these feelings. They exist within you. Validate your feelings. And as soon as she said that, I was like, holy shit. I gave myself permission to feel, to actually be okay with feeling the way that I was feeling, even though it was a low vibration and I didn't like it. When I gave myself permission to feel and actually acknowledge that I was feeling sad, but it was okay that I was feeling sad, I ended up stop being sad. I was mind blown. As soon as she said that, it was almost like a wave of compassion came over me and the feeling dissipated. So the fact that I allowed myself to feel and gave myself permission to feel these feelings, it almost took my mind off of them and shifted the vibration from depression to actually kindness and compassion. And the energy was able to process, and it let it go. So I know that's like maybe a long drawn out like example, but actually allow yourself to feel your feelings, because I really feel like a lot of people, and me being one of them, we suppress our feelings because we're brought up really being taught that, if we express ourselves, there is a chance that we will be rejected. If we express ourselves, there's a chance that we could be deemed as weak, you know what I mean? Or over emotional or things of that nature. We live in such a masculine society where I really feel like a lot of us just keep everything in, and that is just the worst thing. That is just the worst thing. And in that moment is when I truly realized it was like, holy shit. If you actually like allow yourself to feel your emotions, they will process, and then you'll be better to let them go, and they won't stay in your subconscious. So that is my first tip. And it's not to say that like I won't ever get sad again about my miscarriage or something like that, but I'll actually be better able to deal with it. But it's not to say that I'm ever gonna get triggered again, but I just know like now I can talk about it, you know what I mean? So it's like when somebody is talking about something that happened to them and they really haven't expressed those feelings or allowed themselves to feel, they start crying when they talk about it. And this is because it's trapped emotions coming out. They're actually like being triggered by the speaking of it. But it's actually a good thing because they're moving the energy. So it's kind of the same thing of, even though I might get a little upset, I won't get as upset. So that is my first biggest tip, is that to actually validate your feelings and how you're feeling, and basically show yourself kindness and love when you're feeling the feelings. Give yourself permission to feel. Don't suppress it, because that's what keeps it stuck, right? This point kind of brings me to my next point of the self-acceptance. Accept the fact you feel the way you do. Kind of with the validation, validate your feelings. When we accept ourselves in the moment, we're giving ourselves almost like permission. We're giving ourselves love and compassion. We are accepting of us. When we reject the way we feel, we're ultimately rejecting ourselves, right? So, and then to even go in a little bit of a spiritual note, that is the rejection of God. So when you accept yourself for how you're feeling in the moment, who you are in the moment, whatever has happened, you accept it. It almost like there is this power that comes with self-acceptance. It's almost like this force of nothing can fuck with you, right? If you accept yourself and the way that you are and the way that you're feeling, it doesn't matter about anything else in your external world. It doesn't matter what so-and-so is going to think of you, because you are self-accepting, right? You are the only one that has your back. The universe has your back. So that is where the power comes from with the self-acceptance. It's almost like you just really don't care, and you're giving yourself permission, once again, almost like a different way of validation of your feelings, and allowing yourself to feel how you feel, because kind of how I said before, we like to reject our feelings. And when we accept that, you know, something has happened to us, that we are the person of who we are in this moment, then it almost like puts a vibration of like kindness and compassion and self-love. The thing that really helped me out with this too was having faith in yourself. And what I mean by this is accepting yourself in the moment. And even if you don't like it, even if you don't like the situation that had happened, even if you don't like the way that you feel, the person that you are, the habits that you have, whatever your disease may be, if you don't like it, have faith in yourself that it's going to change. Self-acceptance and having faith that it's going to change. You have faith enough in yourself that you're going to make the movements that you need to make in your life to be able to cure this, or I say cure, to be able to move this energy, to get better, to be at a better place than you are right now, right? That is faith. That's the knowing. That's the inner knowing. That is also faith that this happened for a reason. You're going through this for a reason. So therefore, faith in the universe, that the universe has your back, right? That you have to understand that to have faith in a greater power, a higher power that you're a part of, and that is with you going through the same thing in that very moment, right? You're not ever alone, and you understand that it is happening for you. And you're having faith that you're going to come out ahead no matter what. This comes with habits that I want to break. This comes with thought patterns. This comes with situations in my external environment that I don't like, that I'm just like, why the am I here? Why do I feel this way? Why do I keep like getting these things pop up? And I'm just kind of like, okay, I have faith. I'm gonna figure this out. I have faith. I'm going through this for a reason, and this is temporary, and something beautiful will come from this situation. Always, always, always. It is a journey of moving forward. Like, that is the only direction we're all going, guys. We're all headed in that one direction. So you have faith that the forwardness, whatever steps you take, it's gonna help you. And that has brought me so much comfort and the trust that I have in myself, the trust that I have in the universe. In the moment, it helps you shift that energy to more of a love vibration. You feel supported almost, and like everything is going to plan. So it really helps shift that fear into love and support. Because ultimately, guys, if we don't have faith in ourselves that things aren't gonna get better, or we don't have faith in God even to say, then it won't happen. Believing is seeing. Our external world is always gonna show us something different than what is on the inside. So if you believe and you have this love on the inside, your external world will shift. It is the law of the universe. So when you truly believe, you truly have faith, that is what you will manifest in your life. And even if it doesn't happen directly in the moment, it will happen for you. You will start to see miracles in your life, and you will start to see these breadcrumbs being laid out for you in paths, and you will understand things happening for you, and you will actually take the breadcrumb on the path, and things will start getting better. That is the belief that you hold within yourself. That is the power of belief. Believing is seeing. Believing creates miracles. Believing creates a shift in your perception, your mindset. Believing and faith is building confidence in yourself that you are getting better with every step of the way. My next tip is probably one of the most life-changing things that I have done, and probably one of the most difficult, is the art of surrender. because I am a control freak. I like to control all of my external world, and I do this because it is it's an illusion for me. What I mean by this is, if I feel I have control over something, then it helps me feel in control of the situation. It helps me feel in control of my anxiety. If I can control something, I will, because then I can better predict an outcome. It's what our brains like to do. It's like a survival mechanism, right? But what happens when we actually surrender that control? And that's what I always had thought. Like, if I surrender, my life is just out of control. Like, if I give everything over to God and just surrender, like, so much shit may just like start to happen, and I will freak out because I can't do anything about it, right? Well, the illusion is we never really have control of our external world. We can only control how we feel on the inside. So our emotions and how we react to those emotions, right? Because we're always reacting from a point of being. So when I actually practiced the art of surrender, and where I actually did this, and usually they say that when you do this, and I fully understand now, when you do this and fully embrace it, that is when you've hit rock bottom. When you literally have nowhere else to fucking go. You have hit rock bottom, you've had enough. You don't know what else to do. There's nowhere to go but up. And you feel just like all hope is lost. I literally said, I surrender. I don't know how to deal with this anymore. And in that moment, it's like God entered in to my life. And this is where I like to think of, if you've ever heard of, like, you know, baptism in the Christian days or whatever, of like allowing God in your heart. Then you get baptized and then woohoo, God's in your heart, right? I never fully understood that, of allowing God in your heart. And I truly believe that means to surrender. That means to welcome God into your life, to rejoin God pretty much. And when I did that, I felt so much love, so much relief. It's like the responsibility was of healing, of like dealing with these issues, was taken from me. The energy had shifted, and all I could see and feel was just so much love and support, that I didn't have to do this alone, that I wasn't alone, that the universe has my back. You know, I said that before in this video, but that's essentially the same feeling that surrendering creates. It's freedom. It's not losing control. It's freedom. Ultimately understanding that you never had control. The only thing that you could was how you think and how you act and how you feel, because ultimately you control that. That is it. Understanding that you're part of this higher power. So when you surrender, it's like relieving you of not necessarily the responsibility to heal, because life will test you, but it is almost like the ultimate reminder, the ultimate healer, the one where I have seen the biggest shifts within my reality is when I let go and let God. And you can pretty much do that so quick, so easy, so much easier than shadow work, so much easier than, you know, trying to rewire or figure out like why you have the traumas that you do or the childhood issues. It's like the identification of the dis-ease in your body, or the emotions that are negative that you feel at discomfort, is just enough to know that you've forgotten who you were, that you're out of alignment per se, that you're stuck in the illusion, that you've strayed from love. That is proof enough in itself, right? Because you're feeling it, you're living that reality or the illusion. So where I found it is helpful to understand some of the things of why we are the way that we are, It helps us better understand ourselves and kind of just how human nature really is, and helps us, make decisions and be better. If we understand how these things work, we can recognize them. But actually surrendering, you don't have to go down that route. You don't have to, at least, I'm sure, I don't know. This could be up to debate, guys, but all I know is that brought me so much more relief and love in my life than actually trying to do shadow work and, putting more emphasis on the fact of something's wrong with me, rather than just letting go and let God, and knowing that I was fine the way I was. There was no reason to be upset. So I'm hoping that I'm explaining this correctly. This is a very hard subject to talk about when you're trying to explain your inner world. And then my last thing, and probably one of the most difficult, because it would have been the first thing that I would have done, and I'll talk about some tools too that have helped me, but actually self-love, loving myself, basically. This is what causes the whole illusion, is when you don't love yourself, and then it creates all of this. So, and that's where it's like, if it's that simple, everybody would just love themselves, right? But it's just not. And that's why we have the art of surrender. That's why we have, accepting how it is in the moment, having faith, and kind of all those things that I talked about, even though they all are very closely related and all kind of bring in a similar vibration, but the full self-love and knowing what you are is the greatest healer. It is accepting God into your life fully. It's loving yourself for who you are in the moment. Self-acceptance, all of those things. I can't ever say that it will be easy, because you're probably like, well, how the hell do I love myself? Because we're right back to square one, right? And I read this, I can't remember what book I read it in. I think it was Conversations with God. And it said the highest form of prayer is your thoughts. And I was like, I kind of thought about that for a minute. If you think how you pray, your whole life would be holy, right? So that in turn kind of led me to believe that we have to make the conscious decision to love ourselves every day. We have to make the conscious decision to walk with God every day. It's too easy to let fear step in. It's too easy to revert back to old programs and habits and the ways of feeling and thinking. You have to be conscious of the way that you think all the time. And that is what is the hardest thing with spirituality. That's the hardest thing with knowing all of this stuff, is that, and where people really don't even want to dive into these things, is because it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to be conscious in your life. We are naturally programmed to basically take the easy route of anything. If we can numb something, we'll do it. With an addiction, a distraction of some sort, that's just how human nature just wants to go, I guess. Or society, I don't know. But self-love is a choice. I can give you tools to help you create that vibration within you, but I think where people feel as if they're doing something wrong is just the idea that they're not this thing, that they're already this love. And it's a conscious decision to get there day in and day out. And you'll never, and if you have the dis-ease in your life and you constantly give it focus of that, I'll never be healed. Like, why do I always have to go through these triggers? Why do I always have to do that? It's your mindset. You have to consciously bring yourself back to love and understand that when you're feeding these things fear, those energies, the feelings, it just puts more emphasis and recreates it. Just how the energy works. So therefore, you're living in hell in your head, essentially. So guys, I really hope this video kind of helped you guys out. I feel like it might be all over the place, but this was actually a very tough topic to talk about. And self-love, self-acceptance, that, and like confidence, things like that, it's been an underlying thing in my energy work sessions, in my classes, and conversations, and this mystics, the spiritual shop that I work at. And ultimately, it's the greatest healer. Self-love, self-acceptance is what will transmute any kind of energy. It's the rejoining of God. So these are some tools and some mindset shifts that have helped me, and I really hope that they can help you guys, and hopefully you guys can make sense of them. So with that being said, I'm sending you all of my light and all of my love. We'll see ya.